Okay, I think they're too engrossed in the conversation. I think on that note, we'll get started. A very good afternoon and a very warm welcome to the session here. I hope all of you are enjoying the Thai experience. Just to get started, I'll quickly introduce myself. This is Ruchika, your host for the day today at the Mumtaz conference room. I have been in the industry for 19 plus years now, have worked with the organizations of the likes of Microsoft, Avaya, Airtel Enterprise Services, and currently working with Google and leading sales for a line of business there. So it's that time of the year when excitement is in the air with Thai Delhi-NCR hosting the 23rd edition of its annual flagship conference. This year's theme, the New Bharat, confident, bold, inclusive, brings to fore a more equitable, sustainable, and globally influential future of India, highlighting the country's determination to address its challenges head-on. Please enjoy the experience. Keep tweeting, sharing your experience on social media, which is Facebook and Instagram. Don't forget to tag Thai Delhi at the rate of Thai Delhi. Also, if you're keen to join Thai Delhi as a member, if you haven't yet, there's a registration desk right outside the Mumtaz conference room. So please go ahead and register yourselves there. On that note, there's another exciting announcement here. So drop your visiting card in the drop box as you kind of go around in the alley, in the lobby area. And you could be the lottery picked delegate to share 15 minutes of your stage fame with industry legends. So exchange insights with the stars. So don't miss the golden opportunity. With that, I know we're running delayed already. I'll just quickly thank our partners and then get to the chat for the day today. We thank our platinum partner, Maruti Suzuki Innovation, gold partner, Microsoft, and another gold partner, Havas. On that note, we will invite on stage for our panel discussion. The theme of the discussion is D2C Dialogues, Empowering Profitability. I would like to invite on stage with that Neha, Kant, founder, Clovia; Pankaj, Garg, co-founder and CEO, Daily Objects; Ayushi, Gudwani, founder and CEO, FS Live; and Ravi, Soni, CEO, O Plus and co-founder, Obbserv, who's also the moderator and facilitator of the chat today. So thank you so much for joining us on this stage. And with that, over to you, Ravi.
Hello. Hi. Thank you, everyone. I think it's one of the buzz in the market when we always talk about D2C, and one of the fastest growing aspects when it comes to entrepreneurship and growth of any startups. So we have three passionate founders with us who has built, I would say, one has sold as well, and already on a path of creating something interesting. So why don't we kick off the session with getting a quick run through of their journey from the legends, so that we know where they are, who they are, and along with that, I would request you guys to add one thing which you might think you might have known when you started the company. So it would be great. So I think, Neha, please start. Yeah, please.
Namaste, everyone. Clovia, it's a lingerie brand, women's brand. We do lingerie, and now beyond that, sleepwear, loungewear, activewear, basically everything intimate for women. Today, we ship a product every second now. We've fit about 50 lakh women with the right which is actually the biggest achievement with the right fit, which does a lot to a woman's comfort and confidence during the day. So that's the brand journey. It's been 10 years now, and 2 years back we also sold the majority stake to Reliance Retail. So now we are part of Reliance family. What was the other part you said? Oh, what I should have known.
Yeah.
You know, I think I would say ignorance is bliss if you... Yeah, I wouldn't change anything on the journey so far, because had I known how tough it's going to be and what all is going to come, maybe I would have... maybe I wouldn't have stayed on the path.
Awesome. Awesome, Neha. Yeah, great.
Hi guys, I am Ayushi. I run an organization called FS Life. We started as an online workwear brand, and the brand was called Fable Street back in 2016. Like Clovia, we also decided to solve for fits for Indian women, but picked up Western wear as the primary category to start with. There was no brand which was trying to solve for great fits for Indian women, which need a different way of looking at things. So that's where I ventured into, left McKinsey, and was excited to build Fable Street. Over the course of journey of building Fable Street, we also realized that we are not just one brand strong, and we wanted to do a lot more. We had all the building blocks in place. So during COVID, we also transitioned from one brand to a house of brands, and we have added 2 more brands to our portfolio and kitty. One is called Pink Fort, which is modern Indian wear, and another one is March, which is fine silver jewelry. And therefore, organization now is called FS Life, and we are on the path to scaling each of the 3 brands in different parts of the journey.
Very nice. I know you already had a great experience in McKinsey, but I'm sure there would be one thing which you might have thought that, okay, you might have remembered when you started the brand. Do you think of anything?
From McKinsey or?
No, from when you started, or today when you like look back, was there something which you think that, okay, I wish I would have known at that time?
I think she already stole the answer. If I had known how hard it is, venturing into entrepreneurship wouldn't have happened. But the good thing is that we all find our way around it, and all
True.
of us do. So it's sometimes, it makes sense to just jump into it. It wasn't being ignorant. You would listen to a lot of people across, and people would say it is hard, but there is nothing equivalent to yourself going through it and really realizing what hard means.
True. Experience is the key.
Hello everyone. I run dailyobjects.com. It's a everyday lifestyle accessory. We into for solutions for modern lifestyle. I started almost like 10 years back. So we're known for good design, good quality, and having it right price. We see like there's a big gap in terms of if there is a good design, they are not at right price, or maybe not. So that's how we fill in the gap. Journey is interesting, lot of ups and downs. Last couple of years, you say like 4 or 5 years is very interesting for us. And we are like brand who raise very, in ecosystem, like we raise very minimum fund, like a 1 million, and profitable last 5 years, growing 100%. We're touching almost 150 crore now, ARR. And sold more than 15 million products of 1 million. And there's a lot of interesting things, like how life evolves as entrepreneurship, and you learn and you change. It's very, very important. And one thing I learned, like any retail brand, take time, it take decade, to build. So earlier I tried to take some shortcuts, to do things fast and all, but no, I mean, that's how I learned. And important to build solid foundation, which I learned. And yeah, this is in brief. And when I started, I come from business family actually. So for us, competition is always there, in family, in siblings and all everywhere. So I thought is journey going to be right? Like it's very fast. I thought, okay, I got a success in 4 or 5 years something. But when you are into this, then you understand it's a long journey. And once you're into this, then you are like in the sea, like in the middle of the sea. You have to cross.
It's a sea.
Yeah.
It's not a pool.
It's not pool.
A sea of circumstances, actually. So many things happen. It's not really.
Awesome. So before we move to some take-home messages and some interesting insights, I would like to moment to know that this has been a great journey for all of you, and you must have swam or you must have explored the sea very interestingly. So does that, if you can share one moment or any of the memory which you always have with you whenever you look back on the journey, you want to share that one? And I'm sure there would be many, but maybe at that moment when I ask this, do you remind of something which you want to share that?
Yes, there are several. Some come from a place of, I would say, vengeance. Some come from place of gratitude. So, okay, I will speak of gratitude. When you start, and we were Noida based, and this is not like a very, though on surface it looks glamorous, but it didn't have any of those VC friendly tags attached to it. It wasn't a marketplace. It wasn't a category of men's that will, menswear or men related category really grow fast. So women, and that also essentials, and on which she only spends only 10-15% of her budget from that she spends on wardrobe. So it took some time to stack up. So as a result, the people who we could hire weren't really, like, we didn't, beyond Pankaj, who's the CEO, we didn't have any IIT till very recently, and none of the A-grade, schools. And so these were people who came from literally sons and daughters of the soil, so people who had actually blue-collar parents working in blue-collar jobs and so on. So after 3 or 4 years, I mean, so there was a lot of struggle. In fact, in our, though it's Clovia, very fancy sounding name, etc., but emails are written in Hindi. So, and even I now write like that only, because that's the best way to get your message understood and no mistakes happening. But 3 or 4 years later, when we gained some recognition and on forums like this, and suddenly we saw so much of poaching happening, and the same people who were just graduates, just knew Excel, worked in call centers, getting 2 times, 3 times salary offers to manage brands on Amazon, etc. Because that's the skill they had learned. I think that's what we loved at that moment, and we felt, okay, some difference we've made in someone's life.
Very
or in
nice.
our lives.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah, please.
For me, I think I come from McKinsey, right? So I had made all the nice, lovely business plans, XYZ, year on year. This is average order value and everything, all of that I
For
had done
yourself
it.
or for the investors?
Yeah?
For yourself or for the investors?
For the investors and also for yourself, right? There's very high aspiration and you are very capable of doing so, right? I think, but having said that, of course, I had to go through the journey of building it brick by brick from scratch. That is the only way to do, right? So therefore, the most important moment was getting that first order on your website and just building that website from scratch, getting that first order, speaking to the customer on why they placed that order, and then going and hand delivering myself. So, that is the moment, right? You know that you are doing it right, and that's the first time you have confidence that you'll get there.
Excellent.
Everything else is a paper exercise.
Very nice. I think understanding the customer and understanding the journey makes a lot of difference. Wow. Yeah. Pankaj?
Hello. For me, as a moment, as an entrepreneur, there are a lot of moments comes actually. I would say ulta way, which game changing for me is when we were run out of the money. So that was the game changing for me. And after in 2017, 2020, which 2 times happened, and that's why we company have changed tremendously and all. So I always, I don't know, this is not a good way to say, but I always say this was my turning point. And as I said, if there's a lot of fundamental things, if you build a brand, then a lot of questions come, how can you have a so low gross profit, or how can you burn money? Brand is trust. It means people coming, repeat customers, so many things comes and all. So a lot of questions came that time, and also, I mean, for me, that was the hard time, and that was the turning point, or it's a good way I say.
Oh, it's like necessity was the
Correct.
Was the one which actually innovated the whole business model for you.
Yeah.
Wow. I think with this question, I would like to ask that. See, we must have realized that entrepreneurship is all about courage, taking the extra step, taking that thing which everyone else feared. So I'm sure there would be something which you have done for your brand, which actually either changed everything or may have given you a lesson. So I think that could be a great knowing for everyone as well, if you can share something on those lines.
I think entrepreneurship was First, the ability to handle embarrassment, because in the beginning it's only embarrassment and nothing else. The courage to handle embarrassment, and then of course there's a tipping point, or rather tipping point where you can, yes, success starts to come to you, and then or some form of satisfaction, if not complete success, and you start to feel. So it's difficult to think of a pivotal moment.
If there's any, like, there's no, if you can think
But I
of
think
anything.
the day we turned profitable,
Wow.
just before COVID. So during COVID, what happened for 3 months, of course, we had to take a lot of salary deductions. Whole team took salary deductions, and then, but we kept working hard during that time, and we found different means. Whatever was selling, we sold that at that time, if not underwear, whatever. And then by late that quarter, we turned profitable, and we did a profit sharing bonuses at the end of that year, and everybody landed up making more than the CTC that they would have taken that year. So I think that was a good jubilant year.
No, I think motivating the team and taking them along on the same vision could be one of the best way to do it. I think that was pivotal, actually. Yeah.
I think it's easy to say that entrepreneurship is about courage, and it is at some level, but I think all of us have points in time जहाँ पे वो courage नहीं होता है, वो बस हिम्मत करके मतलब भाग जाना होता है.
Maybe fear. It brings a lot
Fear
of
या
courage.
कुछ, like for me, I think the trigger was जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा releasing, and literally realizing कि I don't want to turn 40 and 50 and not giving it a shot. And that was the trigger, right? So I mean, yes, that could be a push to say that there is courage, but I would say it is a lot more about resilience and just staying true to the course. And that's hard because you can't be second doubting yourself once you are in this journey and then you are consistently running around it. I also don't have a very clear pivotal moment. I think I think there are just moments and moments that you have across the journey. For me, the general pivotal moments, apart from the business doing great and achieving a lot of things, is I think we have a foundation day every year on 2nd of September. That is when we celebrate the brand and the company becoming a year older. And whenever we come back together, you realize, as she said, that you've made difference to people's lives. It's not just that you're building for yourself, you're building for others, and you have to be doing it to stay true to them as well. And you are sitting with the responsibility of 400, 500 odd people. So yes, the onus changes and the mindset changes. And I think that is when courage comes in.
I think realigning with the purpose. I just want to share that we have our foundation on 1st of September. Yeah.
For me, like, is it two different, like, I just said 2016-17 and 2020, where, like, it changed. 16, where, like, I rage and I ran out all the money and having so much liability, and was to shut down, and that was the change moment. Like, we changed whole, like, how brand run and the brand vision, economics, and all. This is a long story. So that helps, working on each and every fundamental, from unit economics, what your product stand for, profitability, team, and most important thing, everything has to be sustainable. So what happened, like, either like what Neha said, either we're hiring a team or any product, everything has to be sustainable. If not sustainable, then it's going to be a problem. So either you're doing any marketing activity or any influencer activity. So if it is not sustainable, then it's a problem coming later. 2020, so I just give an idea, like 16, like I diluted 50% and nothing I had, and after that, without money, I turned company to minus 50% negative EBITDA to 10% positive EBITDA without money. And 2020, when we were like in the right position, and we thought, okay, now we're going to grow, we go to the market, raise fund and all, and this pandemic happened. Then I thought, okay, like, what should we do now? I thought, okay, everybody's having a different approach. I mean, maybe the focus is different. Let's grab that opportunity. So I moved without money from 5,000 square feet to 50,000 square feet area without raising money and all everything. And like everybody cutting expenses, but I take different bet. And that, like, from 2020 to now, we have grown 4x. So And again, no money. I mean, for me, for us, that was two moments, 2017 and 2020 was a game changer for us.
Awesome. I think the whole story revolves around money as well sometimes. Yeah. So now I'll have a specific questions to everyone so that we don't have we have different aspects on different things. So I have a question for you, Neha. So building a successful D2C brand requires a deep understanding of. So if I say this, then what is one thing which is at the top of your mind, which comes, or what is on top of your list, and how do you do it passionately in your company?
It needs understanding of only one person, your customer. A lot of other things you learn, but if you've understood your customer, or even if it's like a process of understanding your customer, that's what you need. I feel D2C brand or brand is not much of a difference, apart from the fact that if you are not D2C, then you have to take care of you have to take care of supply chain partners and their sensibilities and their concerns, but it's the same. In fact, D2C as a word did not even exist but I'm glad it did. It finally somebody came up with this word, because before that nobody could understand आप brand online कैसे बनेगा, होता ही नहीं है ऐसा, तो कहीं सुना ही नहीं है. What examples have existed internationally? Okay, there are some, but there are men's shaving brand, some mattress brand who doesn't fit
brand.
with lingerie.
So what do you mean when you say understanding the customer? Can you just elaborate on that?
Yeah. So one exercise that we did, it could be relevant to people, is that we wrote down the lives or the persona of people who we address. So in Clovia, we have lines divided, not so much like, she's 18-year-old and so on, not like that, but more she's a joint family person, she's a nuclear family person. For our product, it made a difference on who she lives with. Is she's living in PG dorm with her friends, or she is with mother with kids. So that's how we see our customers, because we realize that her wardrobe choices are very, very different when with respect to who she lives with. So it's a very different way of looking at your customer, and that's why I mentioned it.
So do you have a segmentation with respect to tier 3 cities as well, or
we have all of that, and in tier 1, honestly, because the brand caters to tier 2 and tier 2 and tier 3 sensibilities, and in tier 1 cities also you have pockets, or you have large number of people who have lived all their life in tier 1 in Delhi, but they have tier 2 sensibilities. They match our small town kind of sensibilities, but so we do look at that. Awesome. But largely it's the psychographics that matter.
Totally makes sense. Yeah. So I have a question for you. I think this is one of the burning question in maybe when it comes to funding and entrepreneurship. It's all about profitability versus growth. So how do you balance this, or any specific KPIs which you track, or which maybe you have thought of when you are building your plans, or maybe today how do you do it?
So I think we are of course VC funded, but having said that, I only knew one way to build business, which was to do it profitably. But at the same time, there is always a trade-off between profitability and growth. So the core fundamentals that we consistently lived with, number one is that we said that we will always be CM2 positive from day one, and that is how we have run the business. The second is that operations needs to fund itself, and whatever you are using from a funding perspective is either going in working capital, or it's basically funding future growth. So it is either talent, tech, working capital, etc. So that's the only way fundamentally we run the brand. You have to make short-term and long-term trade-offs from a profitability versus growth until you reach a particular scale, and you have to balance that out with the money that you have in the bank. That is how we run it. So
do you keep any percentage in mind? Because I have seen a lot of people say, okay, I will experiment only with 10% or something like that. Do you have any framework metrics in your mind?
Experimentation is a part of the journey, and it has to still be about, I don't think you have to keep a percentage in mind. You have to find what are the relevant experiments. I also have a contrarian point of view that you cannot be doing 20 things. So you have to find what you believe in, 1 or 2 experiments at a time.
Excellent.
And then drive them. and then do them properly. Otherwise, we abandon so many experiments. I'm sure we have seen a lot of what's happened in the startups, right? So it is going back to fundamentally why you exist, what do you want to achieve, and focusing on select things is how we would like to run the business.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. So Pankaj, the way I know you and the way I have seen your growth journey as well, I had always seen you about very conscious about acquiring a customer. So, and I think that is something, as she also mentioned about the first customer when they got, or as you mentioned about the profitability you got, or the way pandemic changed. And that is one of the burning question for all the D2C brand, like how to acquire a customer, because there's a lot of dependency on running ads or maybe other mediums as well. So my question is that, so acquiring a customer at low cost and milking it for the lifetime. So if you can share any hack or any growth strategy or any creative, like something which you do creatively at daily objects to acquire and milk the customer or build a lifetime value.
So many things actually. One is like when we see Ajay. One thing which really worked for us 3-4 years back, we thought, okay, we have to focus on AOV also. How can you increase your AOV? Because if you keep increasing AOV, you can control your CAC. And last 3 years, my AOV have grown by 3x. So we rarely happen where you grow and your AOV, generally fall. Yeah. So we build that kind of a system and bundling, kind of a product range, and let them try one product, then they will buy a second product, that also helps because CAC also growing, but that keeping 20%.
Okay.
The whole way. Like for example, there's 300, maybe it's 500, but still is 20% of CAC. One, so that's how we done as a AOV have sold, which is very rare, like when you talk about in the market. Second, a lot of if you are very dependent on one platform, either Google or Facebook or marketplaces, anything, that also is a problem. You see, then I see 2 दिन fluctuation हो गया, बंद हो गया, then your sale is gone or something, So build organic also, like how brand recall and the product and all, the brand, the trust we talk about and all. And second most important thing, the whole brand from start to end have a one language, that also important. And we have to be very creative and follow the trends and technology and all. So, how this platform, suppose Reels comes or video comes, these platforms and all, you grab that opportunity first time.
Trend.
By trends in technology and behavior and all. So, in my team, 80% team members are under 26, 27.
Wow.
So, because they know, sometimes, we're getting older, we don't like something, but they know, understand and all, what trends coming and all. So that also, how can you creative on, for example, now AI and all, even 3D, how 3D can use effectively. So a lot of focusing on trends and all. And most important thing, from research to after sales service, we have in-house, what we have built. So we have a big control on quality, cost, and time and all. From any content, anything we build in-house. So, and that give also as to build, expertise in-house and all, and, create a lot of content. So a lot of things did to again, Ravi, that comes from this, because you don't have money, you have to get it done. So then everything fall in place.
I think pretty interestingly, you have mentioned that, bringing the same people on the other side of the table, which solves a lot of things because they understand your customer better. And then a lot of people say, my AOV or my CAC should not be more than 500 rupees or 600 rupees. But I think controlling it by the percentage could be a great idea, so that even you can increase the AOV also in that way. Very nice. Yeah. So I think while I was thinking about various questions, so I saw that you guys have a lot of things in common, but there are a few things which are very different as well. So when it comes to building brand, so I think I will start with Ayushi, you that. So people always have this mindset that, should I focus upon building expert brands or different categories, or should I focus upon launching various categories in one in like one brand level only, or should I focus and reduce my categories as well so that I can be more expert of that and still have this part? So I want you to ask you that as you have launched multiple brands, so what has been your experience and what is the thought behind it?
So I think before we mention that, right, I think one thing to recognize is that building brands is very complex. It is not simple, and it is a very long journey. It is about doing the same thing consistently year after year and delivering the same experience to the consumer, and it can take anywhere between 10, 15, 20 years. So, so that is the thought process we follow, and that is something we are very, very clear about as we think about brands. To respond to your question on how do we think about what categories and where to go, because I believe building brands is very complex, as long as one brand can hold various categories and is playing in a space which is large enough, depending upon the aspiration, you build it within the same brand. And that's how we look at it. So Fable Street started as workwear, it transitioned to becoming Western wear as a brand, and now does all Western wear categories within the same brand, be it your party wear, be it your denims, be it your athleisure, because that's what we believe, that's how you run that, and that is the approach. You only launch an alternate brand or do a different brand in a different category only when you believe that, you know, a brand can stand on its own in that particular category. And that is the reason we had very high aspiration, and therefore we said that we also want to capture Indian wear as a space. And that is the reason we launched a separate brand in Indian wear across this. But being very cognizant that each brand needs a lot of attention, time, and a push to be able to deliver that.
So is there some functions which are common among these brands, or you have different teams for different brands?
So all the core operational functions can always be common. So the way we look at building multiple brands and the way organization is structured, right, there are centers of excellence which are brand centric and will have this because they need technical capabilities to build a particular brand. But then there are central functions which are also, we call them as factories, which will be able to deliver similar experience across all. So your supply chain, your external logistics, and to some extent even performance marketing, photo shoot, etc. Right? They are all operating as factories. Yes, and nice. All the areas like, so for example, each brand has a different meaning. So that has to operate as a center of excellence, and there has to be a technique to building a brand, but you cannot replicate the same brand across all. So that's how we operate and look at it across the journey.
Very nice. Thank you. Yeah, Neha, to you. So I have seen that you have various categories, and I'm sure with the funding also you must have expanded to various categories. So how do you see this as a brand building exercise?
So this was a very pertinent question throughout our journey. Do we extend the brand, or do we add more brands? Because, for example, when we got into athleisure, then does Clovia extend to that or not? Those kind of questions were always there. But at the end of the day, brands are emotional beings. And you and your team, you invest a lot and you research a lot, you think about it day in and day out. So मेरा तो खर्च हो गया था सारा Clovia पे ही पूरा. So I felt, so we, for the sake of, if we have to make it success, and for the longest time we stuck to one brand and we extended Clovia to the categories that we could, like swimwear, resort. Eventually we extended to athleisure or active also, which is a very performance-driven product. But once girls had come to trust us with comfort and confidence and fits, then they were able to buy active as well, and we are growing that also well. Now after 10 years, I think we have larger teams, and these teams now we can create silos, especially in brand management, content, brand, marketing management, and design. You need absolutely different set of people. They can't think. No, I don't think, if you want brand to be successful, you cannot have your feet into different boats. So once we could do that, so today we have a personal care brand as well, for which the audience is the same. It's more intimate and personal care. We called it Skivia. We didn't want to be very adventurous there. It was easy to get trademark, easy to get domain, so we just went with it. And we launched menswear as well last year, for which we have used a legacy brand, John Place. That was part of the Reliance family, so we could use that. So now we are able to work, we are able to do justice. But for me, at least, unlike you, I couldn't find it, or the team couldn't find it in themselves to work on two different brands.
So there was always a possibility, right, that you may have thought of building it more like a marketplace and onboarding few other brands, or was that a thought as well?
No, for us, because the why we started Clovia was because we felt that the brands that are right now in the market, they are not making enough sizes, products, fits. So for us, we wanted to solve the product problem and not just the convenience or finding problem. So marketplace, yes, we can sell products that we can't make or doesn't make sense for us to make, or we don't have the technical know-how right now to make it. So we do put them up from time to time, but marketplace was never one idea because gross margins, the whole business is built on high gross margins.
Different
and
business
so on,
altogether, yeah. Pankaj, the question I have for you is, if you want to share on this something, or
Yeah, I mean, they said very rightly, and if you see, like, brand is trust,
yeah.
and we all also, like, you also carry your brand, I also carry my brand, like everyone carry on brand. So and when we talk about the retail brand, consumer brand, it's true, like it takes time to build a brand. And most important thing, like, think like how customer think when buy a product. Okay, this design, this quality, this price, and I will get on my time and all. Like how like it's every touch point. It's not only the product. Every touch point I delivering the same experience as brands should have, which is you are known for, and what is your TG, target customer. So that's very, very, if the product is not the only thing, like till journey end, deliver and all this have to have same language, same kind of a thing. For second thing, I have seen, like, many people take a very too much shortcuts, and I don't think these shortcuts are there, because if foundation is wrong as a brand, as a product, then you have, maybe you see a very good jump initially, 200, 300 crore, then again, problem is there is going to come back. So for us, product has to be differentiated, that's also very, very important, and how you build from there, because customer expectation build up. When you deliver one product, then they expect more, then expect more, then expect more. So you work more on the core and fundamentals before. That's very, very important. In each and every, not only product first, then all other things also, So that's, as I said, it's sustainable, and all this is become very important. Then if you have solved this problem, then I don't think it's a challenge. To be very frank, I have seen, like, sometime as a D2C sector, like, to be very blunt, I have seen many brand, even you remove the logo and you put the product there, even the founder will not recognize this is my product. So that's the problem. Then it's become a price.
Story of the D2C brand.
D2C brand. I mean, there are many D2C brand. That's the challenge going to come. They're playing with, maybe influencer marketing. They're marketing. End of that is going to come down. Product differences, because then it's open. That product is open for everyone. So commodity product, and also any categories commodity is not, if brand is not there, irrespective of any, like Tata Namak also, like everything is commodity. It's about brand, how you build, and brand can be built on any category. That's how I believe.
So I have a question around funding and exit. I think that's something which again brings a lot of curiosity among people, that कब funding लेनी चाहिए और कब exit लेना चाहिए. So I think I will start with you, Ayushi, that for the funding perspective, or like, what was your journey, or what is the right time as per you for taking funding?
So I think the first question to ask is whether you need funding or not. And if you need funding, and then it is also linked to the fact that you need to have the aspiration and need to play in the space which will return money to the investors, because you are liable to give that money back. I think we all go into this hype, someone else is taking funding, they have also, right? It is great to actually build a 50 crore, 100 crore brand and take home a PBT of 10 crores or 12 crores. That's great. But we all get enamored by what's happening in the startup world, and everyone wants to get funding. So the first thing is to ask yourself whether you need funding or not. what is your aspiration? Do you need funding for that aspiration? And you are operating in a market that you can return the money to the investors. In our context, the decision and when to take the funding. So I had an aspiration for whatever it is. I mean, I think I always want to build large-scale brands, and I want to play in a space like apparel, which is the largest across categories. So I had a very strong aspiration, so therefore it was need to do so. When to take the funding, it depends upon place, sector, and also availability. In general, I would say that the right time to look for investment should be after getting the product market fit right. That would be my, if I could do so, and I did so in my case, that is the right time to look at funding, as opposed to, very early on also you take money, because then you get deviated from all the areas that you need to focus on, and then you are looking at the wrong areas. So I would say that get the product market fit right, or start with very small seed check, which is purely focused on getting the product market fit right. I think that is when I would say it is. And I think one interesting snippet, as I was hearing him and then also Neha around this mention, is that I think you have 3 founders here who are very passionate about product.
Yeah.
Very, very passionate about product and why we are doing what we are doing. So
Absolutely.
we all started as a clear product first companies, understanding what the customers want and how do we differentiate ourselves. And that's when we built this scale.
I think it's all about solving a problem, which actually the product did, and then you can always scale. I think before I come to Neha, I want to ask Pankaj that she answered the right time. Can you show some light on how to find out the right people from whom you should raise funding? Because that's also very important.
I have a very mixed experience actually. So पहले लगता था कि वो बस पैसा आ जाए, like it then solve everything, and that happens with many entrepreneurs. But this is not the right case. And having a right investor on the table is very, very critical. So for me now, like I am very, very clear now, like having a right person aligned with the vision and all is only money will not solve the problem. Just you need the money, and it can ruin also. Like sometimes like you get excited.
Lot of money.
So just money is needed, 100%. Like it help to grow faster and all. But having a right people is very, very critical. Right. So that's my say.
True. So Neha, so you had an exit of around 1,000 crore. That's what I read online.
1,000 plus.
1,000 plus.
TiEcon is on Neha.
Sealed. So, like, apart from funding, it's always important to know that, okay, what is the right time to exit? How did you and Pankaj had a discussion, or maybe if you want to showcase some light on that, okay, how did you take that decision of having an exit? I know that's a good amount of money.
I think before exit, I'll just add to, I don't know if it's helpful to anyone here, it was very helpful to us when we heard it. Back in 2015, when we were trying to raise our Series A, we were speaking to Chennai Angels, and there was a gentleman, Mr. Sudhir Rao, who visited our office, and he said, "Paise kyun chahiye? You guys can just take, why raise equity and via equity? Why don't you take working capital fund?" And we had some lame answers like, "Hame kaun dega?" And we are making loss and this and that. But so there is, and today a lot has changed, but I would suggest to all founders to look at alternate means right in the beginning of their career or of their journey for sure. So there are a lot of working capital options, and equity is the most expensive one. So from taking an overdraft line at that point, then to moving to NBFC, it really came in handy, and it paid off when we exited, because then so I will always remember Mr. Rao and always be grateful to him. We all are. The right moment to exit, really, it's, I don't think I have any clear answer on it. It just happens.
Just your experience.
Yeah,
I know there's no right
at least for
answer
us, it happened when we weren't looking for one. So it's almost like, it sounds like a movie girl dialogue types ki we weren't looking for their love, but we got it anyway. But I think, it's age, it's how many years you've done something, and then you want, as a family also, you feel now it's right time for you to get an outcome, and how much do you want to wait for a bigger outcome, or you want to take this outcome right now. So a lot of things, life is a sea of circumstances, like he said.
So what changed after the exit?
Work-wise, your daily, everyday life-wise, I think nothing, not much changes. At the end of the day, everyone has a boss, so our boss just changed, so not much changes. But yes, today we have a lot more power, a lot more arsenal. Being part of such a massive group,
Thanks,
it
yeah.
also, we are also learning. We had all forgotten how to work in a corporate, so we are
Back to
also
corporate.
back to corporate. We are also learning. So I think that piece has changed. The way we had thought of the brand, of course, we have to realign our vision also. But it's a much larger vision now. It's a much larger vision. We had not thought. So Reliance Retail's, I believe, what their ambition is to touch 50% of India's. They should be able to touch 50% of India's population. That's the kind of footprint they're aiming to build. So it's just a much larger dream that you are part of now.
Interesting. I think the visions were aligned and the dream actually became bigger.
Yeah.
That's how I
Yes,
should say
yes,
that.
huh.
Yeah. So even does it really matter that whom are they the right people for the exit when you are exiting as well? Just like apart from being the right time, it's also important to see, okay, are they the right people for our brand or to get on board? I'm sure it must be. Or how do you decide that? Or that was only.
That I think it's a very personal journey. If anybody wants to ask me a specific, I can speak one-on-one, but not here.
Okay, sure. Sorry. So I think, so we all see that the era has been changing. When you started the brand around 8 years back, 10 years back, 5 years back, and today if you see, there is a different era of altogether of digital, where the total internet time is different. There's an era of AI. And so how do you see this as a situation for someone to start a brand? Or what do you recommend in that scenario for someone to start a brand? Anyway.
Ravi, like for running a business or brand, the basic fundamental always the same.
Okay.
You know, that you always apply. Second most important thing, which nothing is fixed in these days, in ever also. Like you have to keep evolving and you have to be the trends of technology, behavior and all. And these days even big company are also like not stable. Anything can happen, and if you are like thinking, okay, I'm done, like we don't have to change. So you have to be toe on every day, you know, another team member and all, and you have to follow with technology trends and also this very, very important. If you stop innovating, stop, you know, following, stop adapting these things, then you are done.
Okay,
so
then
that's my learning. Like,
so let me be more specific with the question. So when it comes to tech, so a lot of people say that, okay, let's start a Shopify website or let's launch it by the marketplace or something. So how do you see technology as a function or as a important factor in building a brand business?
no, this internet brands or tech is very, very critical. And we also wanted
So you
to
have this in-house or you
in-house.
use
So we wanted
various-
to move to Shopify. Then we talked to a couple of people. They said, okay, no, certain skill is going to be a problem. So earlier we were in Magento, then we were moving to Shopify. Then we thought, okay, like it's very, very important. And I have seen people when do outsource, it's sometimes become very slow process, you know, because entrepreneurs want to move fast and all. So everything we build in-house, all back end, front end, and all from scratch, very young team and all. As I said, we only logistic we outsource, and good like we have done because we have a lot of control on things and all. So Shopify I heard on a scale, and a lot of customization problem also is there. Like you face a challenge in Shopify.
So you are very specific about the experience you want to give to the customer, and that's where you wanted to put the tech
control
in-house.
also matter a lot. And regarding AI, it's interesting. Like we use for especially on tech analysis and all, you know, technology and all, and data analysis and all. But creative part they can't play, you know. So a certain level will play. Like for example,
did you try Delhi or something or no?
Like for example, website search. So we use AI.
For that you
So
use, yeah.
पहले हम कोई और use करते थे, then we use third party AI. So that kind of a shift is very, very.
Very nice. Yeah. So Ayushi, I'm sure you mentioned that a lot of things at FS Live is driven by data. I'm sure this has been a case for all of you. So in this present scenario, if you want to share something around that, how are you using data, or maybe are you using AI to capture that data or tech to capture that data to define the journey better?
So I think capturing data is in any shape and form we do, right? I mean, I think we use tech in and out across this, from consideration to conversion to how are the spends getting allocated where, etc., and all of that. And we are leveraging that data end to end to drive our decision making and also drive our pricing, product portfolio, and everything. So
do you also believe to build in-house, or are you using some third-party tools as well?
So we are using a lot of third-party tools.
Okay.
We genuinely believe that you need to focus on things which are not done and dusted. So for us, the only tool that we are building on tech is our supply chain side tool, because that doesn't exist and that's needed.
Okay.
So so that is how we look at it. Beyond that, when you're running an organization, there are so many areas to focus on. So things and problems which are solved by others, you should not be spending time solving them. So that's how we take a look on it. But to answer your question, and do we use a lot? We use extensively. The entire organization is significantly data backed on each and every aspect of decision making. That's how we operate. There is a creative lens and you cannot eliminate that. But that is how we operate.
So I think it's a different approach for leveraging and for aligning what you want to control and what you don't want to control. So in that way, like any specific third-party tools you want to name for the audience which they can explore and use?
I think it is across various channels, right? I mean, Shopify, of course, we use from a website and a D2C perspective. We have App Brew driving our app. We are using at least 30 to 40 different third-party apps within Shopify to look at various aspects. We do Big.ai as primarily from a data channel perspective. So we are using a lot of tools around this. Can have a chat if someone wants to look at whatever those tools
that would be super useful actually, because whenever you're building a tool, you don't have a bandwidth to build all the tech in-house as well. So you can always use the third-party tools to focus upon few things which you really want to do. Yeah. So you want to showcase some light on the AI part and the tech part at Clovia?
So Clovia tech largely was built in-house because we are quite old in the sense 10 years back there was barely any e-commerce, there was no Shopify, so there was no marketing automation, web engage, Mo engage had not yet started yet. So whole lot of it we built, but now that the tools are there, we are also slowly moving to people who are specialists at this and then using them. So that's what I would also recommend, and because it's quite expensive to build on your own, and if you are not a techie yourself or not very tech oriented, then it's difficult. You can't do so many things. One interesting thing we started to use AI for, of course, data is at the center of everything we do. We track everything, and we crunch about 140 million data points for 5 million women that we cater to. But all of that right now is managed by big data and not yet AI. But an interesting thing that we did with AI was images, creative images. So all along, so many of our everyday customers tell us, you show models, these are, we don't relate to them, and it's not Indian body type. But then those are the girls who are willing to shoot in India. It's very difficult to find models, and if you find realistic looking bodies, then they're not comfortable on cameras. But this is like a real problem we had with showing underwear on Indian women body types, and now AI is there, so you can create these very realistic images of how for different 9 body types that we cater to, we can show, we can create products and they look good, so it's not like the person is looking uncomfortable and bad lighting and so on. And no influencer, so it's not expensive, and these pictures are doing wonders for us, and so I thought it was a very fun thing also.
So I think while listening to the various approaches you guys have taken for building these brands, it feels like that there is no right journey or there is no right thing to do. It's always that you evolve as you grow and as you have the problems at your hand, and then you solve it as per the resources you have at that time. Excellent. I think it was a great session. Thank you guys. I would like to open the session if anyone from the audience have a question. Yeah.
First of all, super inspiring stories. I actually noted a lot of takeaways.
Can you give her a mic?
You can take this. We have one.
Okay, I got one. Hello. Yeah. Thank you so much. I think it was super inspiring stories I was saying, and I have taken notes quite a lot of notes for myself. So my question is, all of you, anyone can go first. Were there any breakdown moments during the journey when you kind of thought, it's not worth it, and then you came on the other side? Like, were there any moments like that where you said, where there were doubts, huge doubts, and then coming on the other side? And what were those one or two things that helped you overcome those moments?
I think generally there are a lot of breakdown moments in the journey. I don't think you can say, the journey is very easy. We started with saying the journey is hard. There are various moments, and I wouldn't call them breakdown, but they are fairly hard moments across the journey, and you sometimes wonder that what is the outcome and where are you running for. For me, what really worked, and COVID was one of those times when you literally, everything was shut. You had your investors to answer to, you had your employees to answer to, you had a business to grow, and you had your family to take care of. It was very, very hard set of moments. But in general, for me, I think I've learned to live by two things. One is for me to convince myself that whether I want to continue the journey or not, I ask myself that if I wasn't doing this, would I be doing anything else? Or am I willing to trade this off with someone else? And the answer to that is no. And which gives me, therefore, the confidence to live on and say, I am doing it right and I want to be doing it. So that's critical for me. I think the second part, which is a part of principle of running a business today, because har roz fire hoti hai, kuch na kuch gadbad ho rahi hoti hai. So I tell everyone and my team also, as long as no one is dying, we're going to get through it.
Fantastic. Yeah. Great answer.
True, actually, so as she said, there is every day so many breakdown, and only one suggestion: this is very temporary. Take a break, don't rush, and then next day will think solve. So be positive and don't need to solve that problem that right moment. That generally everyone do, and this breakdown have in the past and going to come also. So yeah, so.
Yes, there is dark side of entrepreneurship also, where things get tough and it's difficult to gets difficult with your family also. And if you're working with family, then it gets even more difficult, which is the case with me. So I feel, yes, once you've had a successful outcome, yes, you can look the other way, but till such time that you're waiting for it, there is a lot of that. But I think funny thing was that when we were exiting, just before that, we were actually raising our Series C, and this opportunity came. So just, on one day, we are hyping all our investors and everybody up that this is the business to invest in, so much good, this, that. Next day, we are saying, ho nahi payega, abhi. We are listing down all the reasons why they should exit right now and not a few years later. So I think that was a very tough time to do such a strong pivot, like one of those ankle breaking kind of pivots we did. So, yes.
Thank you. I think I want to add to it. In entrepreneurship, as I mentioned, courage, because I strongly believe that courage brings a lot of power to it. I think one thing when you asked this question, which I got in my mind was, whenever I had a breakdown, or I always listened this from my father that ye bhi beet jayega, and that's something which has always helped me a lot. Yeah.
I give one example actually. I love many examples. So one point in 16, 17, we were in bad situation, and we were in minority founders, and we were asked to, they wanted to buy in my company 3 crore, and I was in minority, and we founder fought. Now we are 150 crore ARR, and our minority is majority now. We buy back them. So, and sometimes fighting with, you understand, so many breakdowns in the journey and all, and when it started, so I come from business family, I don't know ki investment bhi kuch hota hai, I typical business family coming from Rajasthan and all, whatever I earn as a job, I put all the money and all, और मुझे पता भी नहीं था, और इन अर्ली डेज पैसा ख़त्म हो गया और आई हैव टू गिव द सैलरी, आई वाज इन सम वेडिंग, आई डोंट नो व्हाट टू डू। मुझे सिर्फ टैक्सी का किराया लेने के लिए एटीएम में गया, वहाँ पे मेरे पास पीएफ का मनी आ गया। सो देयर आर सो मेनी मोमेंट्स आर देयर इन लाइफ वेयर यू गिव यू ओके यस डोंट वरी, लाइक थिंग्स आर देयर, विल सॉल्व, जस्ट होल्ड, लाइक आई मीन डोंट।
Any other question? Yeah, go ahead.
Being a consumer in the D2C brands, it is very important. In the D2C brands, it is very important to manage the reviews. So, in your brand, Soni, how do you think? How do you manage the reviews there? How do you take the feedbacks, and how you act on those feedbacks?
So we track NPS quite closely. Till date, I read thousands of reviews every week. They get compiled for us. I mean, there's an Excel download that comes. So it shows us. It also tells us of all the loopholes that we've been missing, because once you start to cater to a large base and so many products, there are misses. Other than that, there are social listening tools that we use. What we didn't do, I think, came from some stubbornness that we had, that the websites that allow customers to come and post, and then you have to pay those websites to remove those reviews or answer them or get customers to be able to interact with customers. That's something we didn't do. But over a period of time, I mean, initially, yes, you would Google Clovia and a lot of negative because of those websites will come on top, but slowly it started to move. You know, in growth, when you're growing fast, then your infra will always be chasing the sales. So you'll always be a bit ahead of what your infra can handle, or at least that's what happened with us. So there will be every year 2 or 3 times it happens to us that we are not able to deliver in time, or some problem has happened, and there'll be thousands of people writing to us on LinkedIn. That's when you put all your arsenal, a lot of people you put on customer care, a lot of things you do, you allow for refunds, everything you do, and then you stabilize. So that's how.
Okay, thank you for your answer.
Very nice.
Just one more question. For the startups, actually, it is very important to understand, the spend you do on the ads and stuff. So, what do you suggest to the startups? Like, it should be the blend of organic growth and spending of the ads, or it should be, either of them? Just one thing. It should be a blend or one thing?
No, you have to do both. If you have time, then you of course go the organic way. You invest on content. You do the right SEO practices. That will pay off. You take your time, but nobody has that sort of time, and customers also move on, trends change. So you will have to invest in marketing. You'll have to do performance marketing, but you should know that never happens that eventually, people will come back. My repeats will take over, and on Facebook, Google only can I make profitable. That won't happen. We also kept waiting for it to happen. Didn't happen. Then we realized, no, we have to do more. We have to get a lot of free marketing things that we had to do to get brand go beyond performance marketing.
So I want to add to that, because this is a dilemma a lot of D2C founders have, that should I invest in organic SEO or not, or how should I do it? I think the biggest question is setting the objective rightly, because a lot of people consider, okay, I will just get ranked on few keywords and that is something which will bring me traffic and I will track that. It's more important that, okay, are you tracking revenue or not with that? Because it's always trackable, right? It's not about just fulfilling your ego. Okay, yes, we are getting rank on the top keywords and now I'm happy and all. It's more important that, okay, are you tracking the right things, and are you focusing on the right objective even when you're focusing on organic growth as well? Because not only about organic, but maybe, yeah, no doubt, it actually brings a lot of sustainability in the system, because as she mentioned that, okay, you are investing in future. That's how you should see when you're doing an organic. It's not like, okay, it will take a lot of time and it will not come. But yeah, it brings a lot of stability, I guess, in terms of how people sees that. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Any other question? Oh, yeah, please. How much time we have? Okay, we'll take 2 more questions, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, this question is to Pankaj Garg. Like, I'm just opening your site, Daily Objects, right?
Yeah.
So all the products you are like importing from China, or you are getting locally manufactured, or you have?
So, 2 kind of like, if you go on more technical things, there is one fabrication and there is mold-based product. Like, if you go in detail, so all fabrication is done in India. from, we have in-house production, we have almost 500 people work on the contract basis, my facility and all. So 80% portfolio is make in India from scratch, from, sourcing from meals and all. 20% product portfolio comes from outside, but that also be like changing some design and all and hard neckers, finding and all. So 80% portfolio is from India, like make in India.
Okay, one more question. Same. How you do handle Amazon basics? Like how you compete with them? Why somebody will come to your site and buy the product, not from Amazon or?
So this is very interesting, and like everyone know the Amazon, like everyone can go and buy them. Still, my 70% business come from my platform, and it's continuous growing and all. So I have seen this very early days on Amazon. Like many brands become so dependent, and they change the strategy and all. You died, I don't remember some names. So. Basics also, not every category is working. If you check with Amazon guy, like few categories only work for basics, because Naeem is basics and all. It's not like he's applying for every category they get a success. So for us is the product differentiation. So what we are selling, what price we are selling, that is not available in Indian market.
Okay. Are you selling offline also, or just?
We just started 2 months back. It's a very, very big thing for us to launch a store in CyberHub. And it's very, very difficult. Like to get their space is like 2 years line, and it's quite expensive. But I thought why like I always say some people say कि छोटा सा kiosk खोल लो, पहले try करके देख लो, पहले ये mall में जाके ambience में we did. I said this product is good. Then if it doesn't work on CyberHub, then it's not going to work anywhere. Because there's an excellent crowd, 40,000 footfall every day. Big corporates are there. Perfect TG for my product and all. It's damn expensive. Like for me, like not raise big money and all. And good part like is we are profitable. Like it's first store, very small versus profitable, very high rents and all. So the reason is again thinking very original is very, very important, because one thing if you see on internet on Instagram you will see the store have all 360 branding. So cyber में एक small branding के लिए आपको 10 लाख 8 लाख रुपए देने पड़ते हैं. With this one thing I sold so many things are there, and big corporates are there and all. So we started, and one more important thing which I also learned, there are a lot of opportunity come. You have to understand when to do that. For example, Apple reseller wanted to have daily objects product last 3-4 years, and they wanted. I said no, I'm not ready, because there are a lot of cash flow and on inventory and all. So a lot of also important, many things excite you. Okay, these people approach you, why not you do that and all. So, and second thing, मैंने वो इसलिए नहीं किया क्योंकि वो अपने टर्म पे नहीं कर पाता मैं. अब मैंने अपना एक ब्रांड लैंग्वेज सेट किया, and I prove that I do now. I will say that they do my own term. So thinking differently is very, very important when whatever you do. There are a lot of.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Can I carry on the questions? Like,
I think you can have an offline discussion. That would be better. I think we can have only last question.
Okay. No.
Yeah. I hope ask only one question, please. Yeah.
How the change in technology and policy helping you guys, and what was the strategy behind to against the competitor?
This question is for anyone or
Anyone.
Okay. Yeah, you can take it.
I mean, I think it's a very standard question, and I think what we need to understand is that he's already answered this in some shape and form. We genuinely have to evolve the brands with change in technology. That is the only answer. And you have to evolve, and you have to stay ahead of the curve, and you have to be close to your consumer. Then you don't need to think about competition. Competition will be there. They will come in and around you. They will, they will come, they will vanish. More competition will come. The more you do better, people will keep on following you, right? So the only answer is stay true to what you are trying to do, and follow the technology if it is driving the change. Please make sure that you imbibe it, as opposed to thinking कि इससे कुछ नहीं होगा.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we had a great audience. And thank you so much, speakers, for lovely insights.
Thank you so much. Truly amazing session. We wish to present the panelists with the token of appreciation from Chai. And for that, look at them. Is it audible? Hello? Yeah. So thank you so much. Just give us a few minutes, panelists, please. I invite Mr. Prajakth Raut, Managing Partner, Carrot Capital, to come on the stage and give away the token of appreciation.
What an inspiring story. Well moderated.
We thank our speaker gift partner, the Naturic Company, and innovation partner, AWS. Thank you. Just amazing listening to you. Thank you. And why?